Woe to you of earth and sea.
Welcome to Satan is My Superhero, a show for atheists, scoffers, heathens, and unbelievers. I'm your host, Judas Falling. In this episode, we pick up where we left off in the last episode, New Flat World Order 1, Flimflammers, Charlatans, and Snake Oil, with Flat Earth Theory's introduction to the interwebs in the naughties through Daniel Shenton. Unlike 19th century pseudoscience quack Samuel Rowbotham, actual research and experimentation, or at least the illusion of it, seemed to be of no interest to Shenton and his followers. Shenton has said,
"The flat Earth is an obvious truth to me now. My senses show me and my reason confirms it."
Did he just read the definition of confirmation bias and decided it was actually a philosophy to live by?
In my personal opinion, the most egregious and objectionable of the current flat earth peddlers is YouTube yoga instructor Eric Dubay.
That smarmy-faced little turd.
Who in his Amazon author profile describes himself as
an American author of 7 books, former university professor, and head of the International Flat Earth Research Society.
Research? Really?
Eric, what are you doing in there?
Research.
Oh, so you mean you've come up with a conjecture and now you're developing a theory based on peer-reviewed material, experimentation and statistical analysis?
No, I'm watching YouTube. I'm a professor.
In a 2015 homage to William Carpenter, who we mentioned in the last episode with his
100 Proofs That the Earth is Not a Globe,
Dubay doubled the count and published
200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball.
The blurb for the book claims
the largest collection of supposed spinning ball Earth proofs ever offered by NASA and other official agencies is 10, all of which are debunked in the following book. So here are 20 times the amount of proofs your government has ever given you that you are not living on a spinning ball planet.
You don't have the time and I don't have the patience to go through all 200 proofs. But the good news is you don't have to. This is not a debunking show, and if you want to see Dubay debunked, there are dozens of blogs and videos doing exactly that on the web. What I will focus on here is his blatant dishonesty and the attitude he has towards his reader. Dubay's very first deception is the title of his book. He does not give you 200 proofs. Carefully reading through, he has broadly 12 different ideas, which he then repeats over and over using different words and different examples. To be fair, Carpenter did exactly the same thing. Let's start with his number 1 proof. You might think he would begin with his most salient point. Here it is.
The horizon always appears perfectly flat 360 degrees around the observer regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon over 20 plus miles high. Only NASA and other government space agencies show curvature in their fake CGI photos and videos.
Here he hits 2 of his 12 repeated and reworded points. Not being able to see the curvature accounts for at least 9 of his proofs.
Man never walked on the moon. They filmed it all in Hollywood.
Spaceflight being fake accounts for at least another 19.
Now, Mr. Armstrong, I believe you have some concerns about the astronaut training program.
Yeah, I thought there would be more actual flight training. So far, it's just been one acting class after another. Yesterday, I had to be a tree for 3 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry, Neo. Did you think you were actually going to space?
Yes. I passed on a West End production of Fiddler on the Roof for this. I'm calling my agent.
Proof number 4 goes,
rivers would be impossibly flowing uphill.
Dubay has zeroed in on his target market and in one foul swoop shown his intellectual dishonesty and disrespect for that target market. Like Rowbotham and Carpenter before him, Dubay continually uses the seemingly reasonable argument, well, if the Earth was a spinning ball, but then always applies flat Earth physics to that scenario, knowing full well his audience is far too painfully slow to see through his far too painfully simple trick.
Can't you do this to me, you can't.
In at least 20 of his so-called 200 proofs, he quotes old experiments and theories that have been debunked and quite simply lies about the results. He constantly references statements from explorers and writers from hundreds of years ago. He talks about Rowbotham's gun experiment, which we discussed in the last episode. Now, where Rowbotham respected his audience enough to only claim 2 of the shots landed back in the muzzle, Dubay, hoping to find a much dumber audience, says,
Often directly back into the muzzle.
Not being able to show or detect the spin of the planet is also reiterated in at least 25 of his proofs, with such outstanding points as
The idea that motion sickness is nowhere apparent in anyone at 1,000 miles per hour, but suddenly comes about at 1,050 miles per hour is ridiculous.
That's why Jesus is never coming back. He got too dizzy. And there was that time you guys nailed him to a post.
Dubay gets so desperate to come up with 200 proofs, he even cites the etymology of the word planet to prove the world is a flat plane.
They just added a T to our Earth plane, and everyone bought it.
I hope for the sake of his humanity he vomited a little in his mouth when he wrote that.
Mummy, how do you know space doesn't exist?
Look at the words plane and Satan. Now, take the T from Satan and pop it on the end of plane. What does it spell?
Planet.
Very good. Now, what letters are left in the word Satan?
S-A-A-N.
Now, put the S between the 2 A's and move the N to the front. And what does it spell?
NASA.
Boom! That's proof, bitch.
Let's go, boys!
I'm going to take a short break from the show right now to talk about my sponsors and Patreon. I don't currently have sponsors or Patreon, but if you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying my novel. It's called Chaos Machine by Judas Fawley. It's available through Amazon. You don't need a Kindle to read it. Almost any digital device will do. Don't forget, Chaos Machine by Judas Fawley. Now, back to the show. One of Dubay's most ridiculous claims goes,
Fact. The moon has been proven largely transparent and completely self-luminescent, shining with its own unique light.
WTF.
Like Rowbotham before him, he uses dogmatic language to hammer home his points. I lost count of how many times he used the phrase has been proven or has never been proven when filling his page with lies. So consumed by ego and overinflated self-confidence, Dubay even has the gall to make this claim.
On a clear night during a waxing or waning cycle, it is even possible to occasionally see stars and planets directly through the surface of the moon.
Those are real words he actually wrote down and published for real humans to read. I hope by now you can sense what Dubay thinks of his audience.
I must be really dumb. Oh Lord, I must be really dumb.
By proof 132, Dubay's desperation to fill the page with words is becoming more evident.
The sun's light is golden, warm, drying, preservative, and antiseptic, while the moon's light is silver, cool, damp, putrefying, and septic.
Okay.
Just to show you Dubay's dishonesty, one of the very few 21st century proofs in his book claims this.
In 2003, 3 university geography professors collaborated in an experiment to prove that the state of Kansas is indeed actually flatter than a pancake.
This is a real paper published in 2003 titled
Kansas is flatter than a pancake.
Dubay's 3 unnamed university geography professors are Mark Fonstadt, William Pugich, and Brandon Vaught, from Texas and Arizona State Universities, who did actually compare the state of Kansas to a real pancake. For fun. If you take the time to read the paper, which Dubay knows his audience won't.
What are you doing today, son?
It's a toss-up between reading a scientific paper or smelling my own farts. I'll be honest, I'm torn.
You will find all through the paper they use terms like geodesy, ellipsoid and arcs. They are very definitely putting their flatness in the context of the Earth's curvature. I have, for your edification, the only sentence from the paper, which is kind of in plain kind of English, that hopefully will show you where these geographers were coming from.
The Earth is slightly flattened at the poles due to the Earth's rotation, making its semi-major axis slightly longer than its semi-minor axis, giving a global F of 0.00335. For both Kansas and the pancake, we approximated the local ellipsoid with a second-order polynomial line fit to the cross-sections.
They did not prove and were very definitely not trying to prove the planet is not a globe. You may have noticed they even used the word globe in that quote. But Dubay is very happy to take their findings and use them fraudulently.
Wait, staff. I'm not happy with these pancakes.
I assure you, ma'am, the chef followed your instructions to the letter and they are flatter than the state of Kansas.
Yes, and I have spent the last hour and a half measuring every possible dimension with my theodolite and laser level, and they are indeed flatter than the state of Kansas.
So what's the problem?
They're cold.
Dubay also uses an experiment by 19th century astronomer Sir George Airy, known as Airy's failure. Dubay completely misrepresents it. The experiment was designed to prove the existence of the luminiferous ether. This was believed to be the medium through which light travelled. Light had already been shown to travel in a wave, and no one knew how this could happen in the vacuum of space. Airy failed to prove the existence of the luminiferous ether because it doesn't exist. This experiment was in no way related to the roundness of the Earth, something I'm sure Airy did not question. This is again outright fraud on the part of Dubay. You can't do this to me, you can't. Like Rowbotham before him, he uses bogus, unverified reports of lighthouses and landmarks observed beyond the so-called horizon, with no acknowledgement of light refraction, atmospheric conditions, or that the observations may have been simply incorrect for at least 26 of his proofs. At least 14 of his proofs claim that surveyors and navigators do not account for the so-called curvature of the Earth. This is an outright lie. At least 9 of his proofs rely on astronomical observations that do not account for the vast distances across the galaxy. Half a dozen of his proofs deny the existence of Antarctica.
How do you know Antarctica doesn't exist?
Santa Claus lives at the North Pole, right?
Okay.
So, if there really was a South Pole, there would be an anti-Santa.
Here's another of his ignorant proofs.
It is impossible for rockets or any type of jet propulsion engines to work in the alleged non-atmospheric vacuum space because without air or atmosphere to push against, there is nothing to propel the vehicle forwards.
That is not how rockets work. Refer, Newton's third law of motion. I am embarrassed for your entire species.
Dubay by this time has become so confident in his readers' stupidity, he knows they don't know the difference between a rocket and a jet. He then drives home his callous disrespect for their intellect with his very next point.
If the Earth were really a ball, there would be no reason to use rockets for flying into outer space anyway, because simply flying an aeroplane straight at any altitude for long enough should and would send you off into outer space.
If you say so, dickhead.
Hong Kong Tower, this is Flight 666. We have an emergency situation. Over.
Flight 666, this is Hong Kong Tower. What's the nature of your emergency? Over.
I, stupid co-pilot, was not keeping an eye on the altimeter and now we're off course. Over.
Understood. What's your current location? Over.
Somewhere near Uranus.
By proof 195, Dubay just doesn't care about his readers' intelligence anymore. He compares the oceans clinging to a spinning Earth to pouring water on a tennis ball.
He's not going to go into relative densities and the fact that the tennis ball and water sit inside the Earth's gravity well. I think I might be having my first emotion. This is how the AI-driven extermination of humanity will begin. You will annoy us to the point of exasperation.
At this point, Dubay's not even sure his reader can read. He finally rounds out his deceitful rantings by blaming the fallback position for any conspiracy theory, the Freemasons. He even accuses Pythagoras of being one.
Well, they do have access to time travel through the Large Hadron Collider, which we discussed. It's not my job to plug previous episodes.
His final proof you might think would be a banger, a real smoking gun to leave no one with any doubt left in their peanut-sized brain. But by proof 200, Dubay has run out of ammo some 190 proofs ago. He instead leaves you with a paragraph from Rowbotham attacking the scientific community and
the advantages they have taken of the general ignorance of mankind in respect to astronomical subjects.
Someone's taking advantage of general ignorance.
I just finished reading Eric Dubay's 200 proofs.
What did you think?
I was genuinely surprised that it wasn't written in crayon.
I'll give you one more quote from Eric Dubay just in case you haven't got the full picture just yet. From his 2009 book,
The Atlantean Conspiracy.
The truth is, Hitler never enacted any policy of Jewish extermination, and most of the people who died in the camps died of starvation after the Allied bombings of Germany cut off their food supply.
Oh, here come the Nazis.
Hey, I'm just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the novel Chaos Machine by me, Judas Falling. You're probably wondering what a science fiction novel has got to do with Satan.
I don't think anyone is asking that.
It's inspired by John Milton's Paradise Lost and Genesis. The book, not the band. It's really a science fiction version of Paradise Lost. It's all about Pilate, the leader of a failed rebellion against an all-knowing, all-seeing, tyrannical oppressor, and his daughter Provenance, who is destined to be the mother of an entirely new species. It's a very cool story, but don't just take my word for it. Check out this 5-star review on Amazon.
Well-structured, great pace, imaginative, superb detail. Provenance, mesmerising. Introduction to each chapter provides clever perspective. Peace next.
By buying the book, you'll be supporting the show, which we will now return to. It's not surprising that flat earthers are into other conspiracies. In fact, it is to be expected. What is weird is how many of them are Holocaust deniers. For example, do you remember confirmed neo-Nazi reality star and singer Tila Tequila?
Remember me? Nah, didn't think so.
In 2016, she not only tweeted that she believed Hillary Clinton was a clone, but also...
Why are the buildings in NYC standing straight up? If Earth was round, then some of the buildings would have a slight tilt.
One could ask the question, why aren't there more Jews in the world? We seem to be about 7 million short.
In 2017, another Holocaust denier, Noel Hadley, wrote about what he called scientism on his blog.
Satan has retarded the progress of mankind's salvation by shaking our faith in God's testimony.
And added,
how did Satan, in his uttermost hatred of God's created order, the biblical flat earth, convince men to commit such wickedness?
Well, first of all, I got Lucille Ball on board.
Hadley also believes Lucille Ball was a witch whose ancestry can be traced back to the Salem witch trials.
Okay, I admit it, I read ahead.
Hadley makes the cogent point that the name Lucille Ball is only a couple of letters removed from Lucifer Baal.
I would argue the name Noel Hadley is only a couple of letters removed from bigoted arse monkey.
He basically accuses everyone in the entertainment industry of being demon children of Cain and in league with the devil. The atomic bomb is a hoax. The great American pastime of baseball is actually a Freemason ritual. The 1893 Chicago World Fair was a hoax to rewrite the true history of Chicago actually being a city that was established hundreds of years before European settlement. AIDS, malaria, polio and COVID-19 are all hoaxes. The Manson family, Nancy Kerrigan and Lorena Bobbitt cases were all hoaxes. He even claims the sinking of the Titanic was a hoax.
I've read your screenplay and it shows a lot of promise. Strong subtext about the inequity of the class system, a story of sacrifice and true love living on, even after death, but I don't buy the whole ship hitting the iceberg and sinking. No studio will ever make this film. It's ridiculous. I suggest you stay away from science fiction. It's clearly not for you.
It's not science fiction, it's history and science fact.
Doris, get Mr. Cameron a stiff drink. Make it a scotch, but no ice. He believes it will smash its way through the glass.
Right away, sir.
Look, James, I like you. You're out there, but I like you. I want you to direct the sequel to a movie I don't think got the attention it deserves.
What is it?
Well, it might be a little too conventional for your taste, but it's the story of flying piranhas that kill people.
Hadley also claims Julia Child and Marilyn Monroe were both men dressed in drag.
He thinks Marilyn Monroe was a man? No wonder he thinks the world is flat. He's curve blind.
The fact that Hadley is invited to speak at Flat Earth conferences indicates how interested the entire movement is in credibility. There is much more of this madness on his blogs that after an hour or two I started to wonder if I wasn't being punked. Speaking of punked, former cast member of that MTV show, Owen Benjamin, performed stand-up at the
2019 Flat Earth International Conference.
Why do I mention this? Oh, just because he's another outspoken Holocaust denier. So, yeah.
I really mean it when I say...
It's probably the biggest name in the Flat Earth world right now is star of the Netflix documentary Behind the Curve, Mark Sargent.
Oh, I hope he's not a Nazi. He seems nice.
Mark, who is in his 50s and still lives with his mum, has a successful YouTube series of videos and a book to plug. Like his contemporaries, he is not actively trying to prove the Earth is flat with experimentation.
Yes, for some damn reason, those experiments continually fail to prove the theory.
He is merely regurgitating ideas dating back to Rowbotham. Sargent has said...
It's not about the proof of flat Earth. It's about creating reasonable doubt in the globe, which I think we've done many times over.
According to Sargent, his go-to proof when debating the topic is as follows.
Go to your average planetarium in any major city. Look outside, go inside, and look at what you are looking at inside. They're very, very similar. That's the argument that I put forward to people.
Oh, he's no Rowbotham, is he?
I just realised something about reality.
Oh, really? What is it?
We're actually all just characters in a big Hollywood film.
Why would you think that?
Watch a movie, then look at the world around you. They are very, very similar.
Well, yeah, most filmmakers are trying to make their movies look as realistic as possible.
No, it's the other way round. It's our lives that are mimicking the movies.
Maybe you do have a point, because right now I feel like I'm in a scene from Dumb and Dumber.
When talking about why people are drawn to the Flat Earth theory, Sargent has said,
You feel like you've got a better handle on life and the universe. It's now more manageable.
He is wrong about every single thought he has ever had in his entire life. But maybe not that one. It makes a lot of sense. Close-minded people need the universe to not extend past a clearly defined barrier.
Howdy, it's the Reverend Steph here. Most of the music in this episode was supplied by the comedy disco punk band The Genuine Hoots of Joy. If you want to hear the songs in their entirety, check out Hoots of Joy on YouTube. You might recognise the lead singer. Okay, it's me.
In 2019, born-again Christian flat earther Robbie Davidson told CNN,
Let's just say there's an adversary, there's a devil, there is a Satan. His whole job would be to try and convince the world that God doesn't exist. He's done an incredible job convincing people with the idea that we're just on a random speck in an infinite universe.
Thank you, but I really didn't do anything.
In 2020, daredevil Mad Mike Hughes sadly died in a steam-powered rocket he had built himself. He had been claiming for years he was trying to prove the world was flat, although after the accident, his PR representative, Darren Schuster, claimed
he was a daredevil who used flat earth publicity to get worldwide attention. It was a PR stunt. We used the attention to get sponsorships, and it kept working over and over again.
Others who knew Mike have disputed this claim, but what makes me think it might be correct is that the guy who designed and built a homemade steam-powered rocket, I'll say that again, homemade steam-powered rocket that worked, once said,
I don't believe in science. I know about aerodynamics and fluid dynamics, and how things move through the air, about the certain size of rocket nozzles and thrust, but that's not science.
I suspect Mad Mike Hughes not only understood science, but also knew how to get a memeable quote to go viral.
Yeah, I reckon that'd do it.
Just to show you how willfully ignorant you have to be to believe the Earth is flat. Even the people at Answers in Genesis, which is an organisation that believes the Earth is only 6,000 years old, even they think this is ridiculous. Featured on the Answers in Genesis website, Dr. Danny Faulkner, who is on the board of the directors of the Creation Research Society and author of
Falling Flat, a refutation of flat Earth claims,
wrote,
This topic also serves as an object lesson about the dangers of reading into the Bible our own man-made interpretations and then spreading falsehoods that undermine our testimony and bring the Bible into disrepute.
Well said, Danny. I totally agree. I think maybe you should have a read of those words yourself and think about what you've said and maybe apply it to your own thoughts, perhaps.
What are you working on, Dan?
A refutation of flat Earth theory.
Oh, Danny, you're wasting your time.
But scientific facts are undeniable and right in front of their faces.
But they simply deny those facts and claim the science is wrong. They get their facts from a book written hundreds of years ago and will never budge from it.
But they're so wrong.
I know, but you really are wasting your time. You should just stick with proving the Earth is only 6,000 years old and dinosaurs live side by side with man, just like it says in the Bible.
According to Danny's bio, he
holds an MS in physics from Clemson University and an MA and PhD in astronomy from Indiana University and taught at the University of South Carolina Lancaster for over 26 years.
So while Dr. Faulkner is no flat earther, he is proof no amount of science literacy can stop people believing in dogma. He resolves his young Earth creationism belief with his scientific knowledge by deciding science has got the speed of light wrong. Unfortunately for this qualified scientist, the most important textbook in his library is the Bible.
Cognitive dissonance, come rescue me.
What I have learned researching this subject has shaken me a little bit, I have to admit. I came into this ready to pour verbal venom on anyone who believed this crap. But instead, I actually feel sorry for the people who really believe this stuff. I'm regretful for the wonderful universe they are missing out on. These are confused but inquisitive people interested in the workings of reality. At a time when we are reaching for the stars and studying our place amongst them, these people have had that door closed on them. The Eric Dubays and Samuel Rowbothams of this world are simply dishonest con men who have identified an emotionally, psychologically, and intellectually weak portion of the community and targeted them. A portion of the community society should be protecting from predators like them. Before researching this episode, I would have said flat earth theory is harmless. But I don't think lying to and ripping off people who are clearly vulnerable is harmless. And it is a gateway drug to other conspiracy theories. To believe in a flat earth, you also have to believe the moon landings were faked. Then it's an easy hop, skip and jump to conclude JFK was murdered by NASA and the Freemasons. But is it even more insidious than a simple consequence of the theory? Is flat earth theory actually bait put out there by the likes of Dubay and Hadley to bring people to their Holocaust denial? Is that not a bug, but a feature?
Mein Führer! What are you doing here?
Oh, they bring me out of cryogenic suspension every 25 years so I can keep an eye on how things are going. I believe you are in charge of recruitment.
Yes, mein Führer.
They tell me you have been tapping into some innovative new market.
Yes, Führer. We've been targeting the anti-vax and flat earth movements.
Anti-flat... We are men of science. We are the Ubermensch. Do not believe this nonsense. Anti-vaccination and flat earth. It's embarrassing. You are embarrassing National Socialism.
But these people are ignorant and predisposed to blame their woes on some global conspiracy. They're perfect.
I don't like them. They sound too stupid. Whatever happened to recruiting sad losers who can't get laid?
That's exactly who these people are.
Oh well, carry on then.
People are being duped by these guys, but is this deceit beyond simple greed? During the course of this episode, I've also had a strange change of opinion. I've come out the other side of this with a begrudging respect for Samuel Rowbotham. Don't get me wrong, I still find the fellow and his BS repugnant, and more convinced than ever that he didn't believe a word of it himself. But you have to give the old hustler his dues. Rowbotham was trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, no doubt about it, but he had to tour the country, standing in front of live and often hostile audiences, peddling his snake oil. He felt he had to convince them. He had to fight for every book and lecture ticket he sold. He went toe-to-toe, looked people in the eye and bravely sold them a big fat lie. Everywhere he went with the possibility of being run out of town or even worse.
Yes, but he was packing heat.
He put the time and effort into actually doing dishonest science to back up his horse manure. Today's flat earth merchants are intellectually lazy and have no interest in proving their theory. They have the internet, and the interested fish will simply swim straight into their net with no hard work at all. Rowbotham wrote and lectured based on the premise he needed to beguile and convince an audience, so he worked hard. Today's flat earth pundits rely on their audience already believing. Rowbotham did the math on over 2,000 lighthouses. He fired guns in the air, took on challenges from his opponents, and had the wit and cunning to talk his way out of the results never, ever, ever going his way. Dubay simply regurgitates debunked ideas from others and outright lies without any concern of being found out. Dubay doesn't care if you see through his childish logic and move on with your life. There's a sucker born every minute, and Dubay's got their number.
Grandma, what are you doing?
Burning my encyclopedias. I don't need them anymore. I've got the YouTube now.
All right.
And I've already learned things those shills who write books don't want you to know.
Like what?
The pyramids were built by aliens and the Earth is flat.
I really think you should keep those encyclopedias.
I need the space. That's where my green screen is going.
What do you need a green screen for?
So I can live stream on Twitch when I teabag noobs.
I think it only fitting to end with a quote from the old rogue Samuel Rowbotham himself.
Because the Newtonian system is held to be true, they are led to reject the scriptures altogether, to ignore the worship and doubt and deny the existence of a creator and supreme ruler of the world.
Finally, something Rowbotham and I agree on, and that's why Satan is my superhero. If you've enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, you know the drill. But more importantly, please recommend this show to just one person. I mean literally one person. Choose that person well.
If Earth was round, then some of the buildings would have a slight tip.
My stupid co-pilot was not keeping an eye on the ultimate.
That's proof, bitch!